This is the end of the Weapon Cross series, and thank God for that, because the last video I did on it had the worst response yet, by which I mean there was no response. It got no likes and only had 2 views in the first 24 hours. A better YouTuber might decide not to follow up with the next part, or maybe wait a year or 2 before tying up this loose end. But not me. I'm going straight back in with Weapon Cross issue 28. Previously, Sabreclaw has been hired to kill Sinestro. Scalpman as a character arc. This image is oversaturated. That is the whole story summed up. I'm going to be mostly negative on this one because there are some negative points in this story, and this last issue mainly annoys us. But good picture there of Sinestro by artist Tom Mandible. I think it was this series where Sinestro started having a full goatee instead of just a little soul patch. Bonus fun fact for you there. My problem with this is they know it is the last story. They know the book is being canned after this. They had known for a while that the book was dying. And using your final issue to set up future stories is an ambitious move. But in this case it is dreadful because these stories are never told. There are 2 follow-ups to this series, neither of which explore what this sets up. They were mostly setting up other new stories that were never told. And what we are setting up here is this big war between all these evil factions of mutie groups. We have Sinestro and his super muties. We have the original Weapon Cross program. We have the newer Weapon Cross program. And then a 4th party who is the bombshell ending reveal. But Scalpman, he has been Sinestro's lackey for decades, and now he feels threatened by Sinestro's new super mutie creations. So he has reached out to Sabreclaw like a scorned lover, and he provides very little actual help to Sabreclaw. He just tells him where Sinestro's base is, and only in return for Sabreclaw saying that he'll get rid of the super muties. Overall, I would say my biggest criticism of this story is that it doesn't really do much of anything with Sabreclaw. He is just a prop to send on a mission where set pieces or character moments can happen. They could have at least done something with his former employment by Sinestro and really shown how Sabreclaw doesn't have any loyalty to anyone. This issue is kind of famous though, because the artist, he snuck a hidden message into the comic. Over here we see Sinestro's journal, and if you get out your magnifying glass you can read it, and it says something about how the artist is glad that this series is over because he hates working on it and he hates working on a series that is obviously dead and being cancelled, but he is still doing it because he is a pro. And this is yet another thing in this issue that rubs me the wrong way. It breaks immersion, and it is petty and a lousy thing to put out there, when even the creators didn't care about a comic. Why should I? I also take issue with his claims that he is a professional, because a professional would not sneak a passive-aggressive bitch fest into a product that they have been paid to do. At least he didn't mention the Jews. Also, just up from that, this here, this jar on the right, this is the depressing fate of a minor supporting character in this series. This is the only part of this issue that could be described as resolution. Learning that a character is now nothing but remains in a jar. So I didn't have much nice things to say about this, but it's fine. It is a 3-part Sabretooth story where some things happen. It does what it says on the tin. Sabretooth, he confronts Sinestro, and he has found off-panel some super science to defeat all the super muties, which feels epically unearned. You thought I was going to say epic there, didn't you? And then his encounter with Sinestro leaves a lot to be desired. Sabretooth's employer shows up, and if you cannot wait a whole page for the reveal, you might already be able to guess it if you recognise the soldiers here. Sabretooth, he leaves, and it turns out his employer was Johnny Subliminal from Van Morrison's run, and he is written terribly and out of character. This is a sentient bacteria that wants to extinguish all life forms on Earth. He is not a person. He is an evil entity in the body of a human. He wanted to track Sinestro down to work with him, which is fine since I see the two of them having some mutual interests when it comes to dominant life forms. But I didn't believe a malicious organism would say that he is Sinestro's biggest fan. Sinestro and Johnny Subliminal, they are never seen working together after this, and this is never referred to again. So then we have even more setup for storylines that never get told. And we have some characters on a view screen here, and I have no idea who the girl is. Bottom row in the middle. The rest are all identifiable. The one just above her, the one with the glasses, is a supporting character in this series, but you should be able to identify the rest. But the woman, I have no idea. I thought it might be the native, who was a character they had just introduced in Wolfman's series, and then she never appeared again. And I think I'm gunning with that. And then our last scene is a callback to the first part of this story, with Sabretooth playing poker with some of his buddies again, some baddies. And this time he has invited Scalpman to play with them. The story itself is once again average, but there is added frustrations with the writer's reluctance to let go or move on, and wasting a final issue setting up stories he will never get to tell, rather than offering resolution to the stories he had already set up. It's a bit like a scam. It's like he's trying to hold Marvel hostage to let him tell his stories. That attitude, combined with the artist sneaking in a moan, I didn't feel good about this comic. The story itself is fine, but nah, only 7 thumbs up from me.